Anyway, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We're obviously here to talk about Hauntology, which is going to be screening at FrightFest in about a week. This is a big 25th anniversary. How are you feeling about the screening?
I am so excited. I'm so proud of everyone who worked on it and who acted in it and who produced it. I'm just so excited that a bunch of cool people are getting to show their awesome work. So I'm excited. I hope there's good responses for it.
And how have you been describing the film to people?
How I've been describing the film to people is that it's an anthology horror film that has a queer kind of highlight on it. And it's a fun time. It's definitely I feel like it's I think many people could watch it and it's not going to be too scary for people.
And you appear in the first story playing a character called Julian. What was it about this character that stood out to you?
I just related so much to Julian. I really did. I had went through a weight loss journey a year before filming, and it was because of my health. I was going through a lot of mobility issues and just breathing problems, and so I felt like I needed to take care of myself. And I was with an ex-boyfriend at the time, ex-fiance, and I left him to start this weight loss journey. And I kind of, in the back of my mind, subconsciously thought that he would come back at a certain point or that we would like be together again. And so, post this weight loss journey and post like this mental health journey that I went on, I started to see myself as like really even more beautiful than ever before. And with Julian, she kind of goes through this transformation of she magically transitions into the most attractive version of herself. And so she's finally seeing herself. And then she's also um, greeted by some demon from another world who wants to take advantage of her and wants to, I don't know, consume her for her beauty. And Julian has to make a decision where she gets to look at herself as she's always wanted to see herself, but she also can't keep the guy. And that's kind of what I was experiencing. So when I saw the role, I was like, this is so weirdly divinely timed. I have to play this. And it also was just such a compliment to be asked to play a role where I'm the most beautiful version of a person. That's like, what? Okay, thanks.
And each story in the film kind of has a different vibe to it. There's like a Victorian ghost story, and your section is very much about witchcraft, which it's an area that you're familiar with. Having starred in the craft legacy. What is it about stories and witchcraft and Wicca that keeps drawing you back in?
um, they keep finding me. I love horror. I've always wanted to be a horror scream queen type of girl. So I'm grateful for all the witch gigs. But I think every script that you get is a script in itself, like it's a spell. I feel like witchcraft is in everything because I think it's like a more undefinable science. And so I think I'm grateful to play these witch characters because I feel like in my personal life I am a witch, and none of this career would have happened without me manifesting it to be that way. But yeah.
And I guess also kind of similarly, the craft films are kind of seen as gateway horrors, and like you said at the start, Hauntology isn't, it's not a scary blood and guts galore sort of horror film. Again, I feel it's a gateway horror film. How do you kind of feel about being the face of the modern generation's introduction into horror?
Ah, well, that is a really sweet compliment. Thank you for saying that. I hope I could be the face for modern horror. That'd be really nice, or one of the faces. But I feel grateful and I feel very excited to see horror continue to evolve throughout the years. I've always been a horror fan. I've been watching horror movies since I probably shouldn't have been at like 4 years old. So I'm just very grateful and I'm excited to be a part of the process of where this medium continues to evolve.
And what was Parker Brennon like to work with as a director?
Parker was so chill, like so chill. He knew what he wanted to do, and he was so able to collaborate and to just work through, because he understood that I understood the character, and he understood that he understood the character because he wrote and directed it. So it was just a nice, easy flowing work vibe. Parker would be like, okay, what if you try this? And I'd be like, okay, I could do that. And then I'd be like, wait, what if I add this element to what she's going through? And he'd be like, yeah, try that. So it was a dream.
And obviously, one of the things I guess that makes Hauntology stand out from some other anthologies, in addition to this being a singular voice, you've got like the VHS series where it's a different director each segment. This is just, Parker's, singular voice. But in addition to that, Parker's also championing, the queer community. How important do you think it is for these communities to see themselves reflected on screen?
I think it's so important because I've spent so much of my life basically queer coding movies. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's essentially where you kind of self insert yourself into characters that maybe aren't queer, maybe aren't people of color, and you start to see how your experience as a minority can relate to this experience that I guess a person who doesn't face as much adversity for who they present themselves to be would go through. And so so yeah, I think it's important um, for queer people to see themselves. That way they don't have to project too much onto people who aren't. And I think that everyone deserves a voice on this planet. And so, yeah, I think it's very important. And I'm excited to be a part of that process.
And do you think, like, with the recent sort of success and word of mouth of films like The People's Joker and I Saw the TV Glow, do you think that, queer voices are, finally getting their time to shine and to be listened to?
Yeah, and it's happening in a very it's there's ranges to how much is being identifiably queer in film. And I think that we're breaking a lot of barriers now, and I feel like this is, still the start of seeing more honest queer voices be displayed in films. I love the symbology of I Saw the TV Glow. I love how that, was it wasn't explicitly trans coded, but it wasn't explicitly a trans movie, but as a trans woman who also loves Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which that show, the movie was kind of based off of. I immediately understood the concept, and I was like, oh, so this is a movie about me. Cool. But I'm excited to see movies have me in them and like talk about being trans, or like talk about situations that trans or LGBTQ people go through without it having to be about them finding this self-discovery thing. You know what I mean? That would be really interesting, which is why I'm excited for my next project, Slay.
Which, leads on nicely to that, that it's got Kira Gardner, her documentary on, my life with Chucky was, phenomenal. Now she's moving into fiction. Is there anything that you can share about that one? Because it sounds like so exciting. Just I think the log line on IMDb is like Scream meets Clueless, which, I think that's already half the audience is already in just on that alone.
Yeah, so I met with Kira because I pitched the concept. It's a story that's essentially about a beautiful trans teen girl who has to face adversity for not being trans. And there's like a murderer on the loose, there's someone targeting her, and it's based on my life. And it's taken a weird metaphorical horror lens or scope. So yeah, it's based on me, and it's met with like, yeah, Scream meets Clueless, and so it's really exciting. And I'm playing myself, so it's gonna be really fun. But it's me when I was like 15, 16, 17.
Is that daunting, sort of like sharing aspects of yourself that you didn't necessarily think you would?
Oh, I always knew because when I was little, I would go through so many traumatic experiences, and I wouldn't understand why I had to go through them. And so I would just always say, this is going to be great for the movie one day. And yeah, so I think using my story and my traumas and my experience is something that I don't shy away from, because I feel as though movies are so impactful. and they leave such a huge impression. And I feel like if I could explain what I went through in a movie, um, it could help other people learn how to not go through the same things. And I spent so many years trying to recover and take off all this narcissistic abuse that was thrown onto me by people in my life as a child. And I just wanted to make sure that people would be able to recognize that and be able to have a person to kind of look at and be like, oh, this is how she went through it. Maybe I can go through it in a different way too.
Yeah. Like I say, it sounds fascinating. It sounds absolutely great. So I can't wait to see that when it eventually gets released. And obviously back to Hauntology, with it about to screen at Fright Fest, and then I think there's a UK release imminently as well. What do you hope that the audiences take from watching this film outside of just, enjoying it? What do you hope that they get from this?
I hope that they have a really good time and that they have a lot of laughs. I know my segment is like super funny. Naomi, what's her, Naomi? Sorry, I forget her last name, but she is just hilarious, and I think people are gonna have a really good time with it. And I hope that they feel seen. I hope that they have a laugh, and I hope that they just are like, "Whoa, that was an interesting movie."
Yeah. As you just, mentioning Naomi there, it's nice to sort of see her as herself, because I think most audiences know her from her work in American Horror Story, where she played Pepper, and she looks vastly different out of the makeup. So it's nice that she's getting the opportunity to perform without all of that getting in the way.
Yeah, she got to be a beautiful like old witch thing. Like she's been around for decades or millennia or something. Her character is really cool, and I think she was so great to work with because I literally told her I was like, you in Freak Show with that whole episode that was surrounded by you, that has always stuck with me as an actor, and I've always wanted to convey something that emotionally propelling, I think the word. I don't know why I'm trying to use big words today, but yeah, no, she's amazing, and I was so grateful that I got to work with her, and I'm so grateful to see her just getting to be herself, and she's just hilarious, that girl.
Well, I wish you better luck with the screening. I can't wait to see Slay when it eventually comes over to these shores. So yeah, best of luck with all the projects you've got going.
Thank you so much.